Well, hello, everybody. You guys got here early and you have been waiting so patiently. We appreciate you. We've been playing all kinds of games trying to get everybody online and ready to produce this show for you. So we appreciate your timeliness. We know how busy you are, and it's 2:01, so we're not going to wait any longer. I do need to make sure that we have a sound check going, so if you can hear me on the line, can you please type my name, Kat, in the chat room if you can hear Kat. And I hear Debbie has an echo, so anybody else having sound problems? Yay! Okay. Danny, can you say a few words so we can see if they can hear you? I think I have to bring Danny on air for that. So we'll go with what we've got. Sounds awesome. Okay, great. Thanks so much, everyone. We do appreciate you having us here. There is a chat. For those of you who are new to Spreecast, I'd like to do a little bit of an introduction for you. You can pop the screen out and have the entire screen cover your screen if you'd like to. The benefit of that is, of course, being able to see Danny in full size and all the little props that she's going to show you. You'll be able to see them better. The negative with that is you'll lose the chat room over here to your right. The chat room is really a nice thing. You can ask questions, answer questions in between. We'll try to keep up with them. Karen and I are both here. Now, there's two ways to ask questions with Spreecast. There's this nice little chat that's over here, and you can type a question right there where you typed my name. You can type a question. That's the kind of question that you have to ask the other people in the room and that kind of thing. You can also go down here a little bit below there. There's a box that says questions for the Spreecasters. And right now I show two questions down there if you can see them. One is from Annette Crease, and it says, how many listings do you put up weekly? Can you see that over there? And right below her is Carol Hearn. How do you enlarge the screen? Carol, under settings, a little like the little token wrench there underneath the picture, you can use that to enlarge the screen if it's available on your sound. Tara, no sound. You'll have to try to refresh the browser, try an F5, and see if that will help you with the sound. Okay, and the picture, you won't see a picture yet. I've got it frozen just on my screen. We'll go to Danny in just a moment. The questions for me and for Karen and for Chris and any of the other producers, what's going on? When are we going to see Danny? How much longer? Those kinds of questions go up here in the chat. I'll turn that down if it's too much echo. How's that, Effie? Is that better? Those kind of questions go up here in the chat. If you have a question that pertains to the presentation that Danny's giving you, that's the kind of question you put over here under questions for Spreecasters and hit submit. On those questions, Karen and I can actually put those questions on screen and Danny can see those. Okay, so a little too much. Okay, we'll keep playing, Effie, till we get it there. Hi, everyone. So again, if you have a question for myself in the chat room or Karen or one of the producers, please go ahead and type that in the regular chat up here and right on the right-hand side of the screen. If you have a question for Danny about the presentation, type it over here to the right bottom where it says questions for Spreecaster, and we'll make sure Danny gets those. So for right now, we'd just like to welcome you to the Top Rated Seller webinars. We are thrilled that you're here with us, and we are so happy that you are going to be with us today. Our next webinar, as of right now, the next thing that's set up is a buyer's panel. So for those of you who are familiar with the eBay on location events, the last two, they've had a buyer's panel, and they've had buyers on there that answered the sellers' questions. It was very interesting. It was one of the most popular episodes on both eBay on location Denver and eBay on location Philly. So if you heard about that and wondered about that, you're going to get your own. We've got some great eBay buyers on this panel, and they'll be ready to answer your questions. We may have another one before that. We're still working out all the details on that. So make sure you've signed up for our newsletter at topratedsellerwebinars.com, and then you'll get all the news about all the webinars. We would encourage you to stay connected throughout the month with all the sponsors of Top Rated Webinars series. We have great ways of staying connected. You can stay connected on our blog, which is at topratedsellerwebinars.com. And you can stay connected also on our newsletter. Our Top Rated Seller newsletter just went out an hour ago to remind everyone. And you can also sign up for that newsletter on the blog. We also have a fairly active Facebook group. We interact there before and after the webinars and all through the month. So look us up on Facebook at topratedsellerwebinars.com. A little housekeeping. First question everyone always wants to know is, will this webinar be recorded? Absolutely. Now this time the recording won't be on YouTube, so you won't have to wait. Almost as soon as I push that button that the webinar is over, it'll be available right here. So Spreecast loads it very, very quickly, and you'll be able to see it right away and come back and look at it later. The slides, there aren't going to be a lot of slides this time, but hopefully Danni will be willing to share her notes. I have her notes right in front of me, and we'll get those up on the blog as soon as possible. You're having audio problems, we encourage you to try another screen. If Firefox is giving you bad, messed up view, or the sound's not working, try Chrome. If Chrome's not working, try IE. Sometimes it goes back and forth, and one will work and one won't. We encourage you to Okay, let's try that again. Technical difficulties come and go on here just as they do with GoToWebinar. Our connectors for this series are Kat Simpson, myself at thatcat.com, and Solutions for E-commerce with Karen Locker. Hopefully, when we get the video up, you guys are going to have a much better view here. Let's try this. Let's see. They're having trouble with being able to see my, having trouble seeing the, there we go. There's Danni. Okay. Danni, they're having a lot of trouble being able to read my PowerPoint. So hopefully once you get on the webinar, they'll be able to see you better. Can you say hi and we can do a sound check?
Hey everybody, it's so good to be here. I'm so excited. My desk is loaded with
Awesome.
fun stuff to show you guys.
Okay, if you can hear Danni, if the sound is good, type in Danni, okay? If you can hear Danni, long time no see. Oh, they're awesome. And they say you're nice and loud, so that's good.
Oh, good.
Okay, I'm just going to stay here long enough to introduce Danni, who really doesn't need any introduction because I think about half the people in the chat room are there here every Sunday night watching Danni show her goodies. But our presenter today is Danni Ackerman. Danni started in 1998, I believe, all the way back on eBay as Utterly Good Stuff. That's 2 D's, not T's, Utterly. And she's been selling and supporting her family on eBay and Amazon and other locations since then. Danni's recently started a brand new website called the Danni App, through which she helps e-commerce sellers make the most of selling on eBay. The Danni App, you claim you put the fun back into eBay, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're supposed to be having fun doing this, correct?
It is fun. You can have fun with this.
Okay, so the Danni App, if you're interested in having fun while you're doing eBay, join us. Today is going to be an interesting show because one of my favorite things about Danni is that she sells weird, wacky, and strange things. So she's going to show us how to sell really weird, strange things and on eBay and make a mint doing it. So Danni, it's all yours. Take it away.
Thanks, Kat. So I don't just sell the weird stuff, although I am kind of known for picking up unusual things, but that's what I'm here to talk about today, is what makes me pick up the things that I do and put them in my cart at a thrift store, or if I'm going yard sailing, the things that attract me. Because as eBay has evolved over the years, we're no longer in that age where anything sells. I mean, it used to be, for those of you who've been around eBay a long time, used to be you could sell anything. I mean, anything. You didn't even need a picture. But as you all know, there are now thousands and thousands of sellers on eBay, and the market for stuff has changed quite a bit. So you have to develop more of an instinct on what to sell and what to pick up to purchase. And so I'm going to kind of share my techniques for doing that and kind of give you a little bit of coaching on how you can develop that, because everybody has a different eye and everybody has different stuff that they know about. So the most important thing, if you are either starting an eBay business or growing an eBay business and want to kind of stretch out of your comfort zones, is to develop an instinct for different stuff. So we'll plow right in. And as Kat said, be sure and ask any questions over on the side there. Submit questions. By all means, I want to leave you fully understanding kind of what I'm talking about and where I'm going with this today. So the first thing is, and I teach a lot of people to start on eBay, and one of the biggest questions I get is like, I have no idea what to sell. Just don't even know where to start. I walk into the Goodwill or the Savers and I'm completely lost. So what I say to people is, first, look at what is familiar to you. What do you know? Everybody knows something. Everybody. You may have to like really think a little bit, but we all use things in everyday life, or we collect things, or we wear certain brands, or we have certain makeup that we use, something that you know the value of. So you can always start there with what you know. For me, I grew up in antique stores and thrift shops, and that has always been my passion. Grew up with a single mom and been one myself, and I learned to shop those stores long before the world of eBay and online selling came along. So it was just kind of a perfect fit for me when it did, because I had a little advantage already knowing that these places existed, but a lot of people still don't quite know how to navigate around those places. But the nice thing is, back when I was growing up in them, they were not well organized and set up like they are now. And they were like, the ones I remember were like little closets that you had to go dig through to find stuff. But there's always treasures. People are always getting rid of really good stuff. Really good stuff. So you can develop that instinct of knowing how to find those things. Whether you go to thrift stores or yard saling. It's another place that I absolutely love shopping, because you get kind of a mix. You get people who are emotionally attached to some things but willing to let other stuff go for cheap, and you can find just about anything at yard sales. Auctions. I also have experience. I worked for a very successful auction house down in Tucson, Arizona for a while, and I learned something completely different about purchasing, and I think that's where I really got to fine-tune the things that I learned to buy. And I'm kind of trying to like watch for these questions. I'm multitasking here. So getting asked, what is a thrift store? Thrift stores are places that people actually donate their items, their unwanted items to, and then the thrift stores turn around and sell it, usually connected with a charity. So it's all used items, or it's a lot of times it'll be store surplus that they've donated. Something goes out of business and they give all the remnants to a thrift store. So thrift stores are a treasure trove of things for eBay sellers. What is hot and selling now? That is a webinar all in itself, I think. There are places, and we'll go a little bit more into research and knowing where to find those things in just a little bit, I promise. But first, I want you to learn how to develop your instinct on when you go, wherever you go to find your product and your inventory, know what is safe to put in your cart or grab at the yard sale, and what to leave behind. Because I actually consider leaving some stuff on the shelf to be making money too, because those are mistakes that you're not making. So no matter what it is that you're going to specialize in, whether it be clothing, fine art, glass, pottery, figurines, coffee mugs, whatever it is, there is one thing that holds true no matter what it is that you're buying, and that is eye appeal. There has to be a reason that that item calls to you from the shelf or the table when you're shopping, and that is really how I do my shopping when I'm going, especially in thrift stores, because there's so much stuff. It's true, and there's a lot of junky stuff. Let's get that out of the way. Not everything in a thrift store is going to make you money, for sure. And I promise we will talk about Terapeak in a minute too, because I see the questions coming in, and I'm making note of these questions. So for me, in specializing in antiques and collectibles, when I walk into a thrift store, the first thing I'm looking for is those shelves that contain items that are antique or collectible. And collectible doesn't have to be old. It doesn't even have to be vintage. It just has to be something that somebody would have interest in today. And so I've got a couple examples of things. So here's kind of something that I would buy and did buy. He's a goofy looking dog figurine. He is made out of resin. I took his price tag off already. I paid $3.99 for him at a Savers, and I will have him, I believe I do have him already listed in around the $50 to $60 range, because he is unique, he's novel, and he's something that's going to catch somebody's eye. Somebody actually will pay that much. When it comes to things like pottery and glass, I grabbed this because it's cobalt blue, which I know from a little bit of research is a hot color. So it didn't matter to me that I didn't know who the maker was or who done it. I looked at it. It had nice eye appeal. It does have a mark on the bottom. Let me see if I can show you that. See if it'll, there we go. Very hard to see, but there we go. It does have a mark, very obscure piece, but that's the sort of thing that will sell on eBay. So I didn't need to know too much about it, just that it had that eye appeal. Forgive me as I reach across my desk here. These are just a sample of some things that I picked up at a recent yard sale, and she had a whole box of these. They're little figurines made in Kenya, Africa. They don't look like much, and she sold me a whole box of about 25 of these for 20 bucks. I have been consistently selling these for $25 to $30 a piece because they're neat looking. So basically, if it's got a neat look and it grabs your attention, that's a good indicator that it's something worth you taking another look at if you spot it. And of course, the price has to be right. Now, had these been $5 a piece, not knowing at the time that I could get 25 to 30, I probably would have passed these at $5 a piece without knowing about them. But at $1 a piece, I knew I couldn't go wrong. Then some other things that I'm always on the lookout for, many of you know, I call these sort of things ooga booga. These are my ooga booga statues. African sculptures are becoming more and more popular as for decorating. And while to most people they seem like they would be a cheap souvenir that came over, let's think about that for a minute. Anybody who paid to go to Africa and spend a vacation spent thousands of dollars to get this cheap souvenir. So now when they are going to shop for these, they will spend the money. I have this guy listed at 100 bucks. And I actually got him in a lot of stuff at a local auction that I paid $10 for about 10 different things. So really got like $1 into him. Look at quality. You know, there are cheaply made things, which are really obviously cheaply made. And then there are quality items. You can tell looking at the wood, the detail, the carving, you know, that this is a better piece. And those are some of the things you want to look for. When it comes to more common items that you might feel a little safer in purchasing, let's say coffee mugs, for example. Coffee mugs can be had really cheap. Backing up, how do I know it's from Africa and not Target? Couple things. The weight. It is a wood called ebony wood, and the quality. You're not going to find this quality at Target, and it's hard to show you on video, but every little carving is very intricate and very well done. So, and you will develop a feel for this stuff, and I guarantee you will make mistakes and you will bring home some duds. Point in fact. I picked up this little guy because I liked the blue. And I didn't give it a whole lot of thought because it was like $1.99. I brought it home, and then when I really started looking at it, I realized this was somebody's little school project. So yes, you will make mistakes, but I guarantee you, you will learn from those mistakes, and those mistakes will help you pick better stuff. Just don't go hog wild spending, you know, $50 on a single item that you don't know at least a little bit about its value. Those are the kind of mistakes you don't want to make, but it's okay to make, you know, $1, $2 mistakes, do the research, and then find out that it wasn't such a great purchase after all, because that's how you learn. Avon bottles still worth looking at? Oh, Betty. There are some Avon bottles that are still collected, but you really need to know which ones they are before you start buying Avon bottles. So if it's something that you have in your house already, you've got really no risk involved in doing a little homework and finding out which of those are worth selling, listing, and which are not. And I don't recommend just putting everything up anymore, because one of the big things I tell people is time is money. So you don't want to spend that time on something unless you're pretty sure that you're going to get a return on your investment of time, even if you got the item for free. Do I still list these in the collectibles category? Karen, not sure what you're talking about. The Avon bottles or the African items? Listing what in the collectibles? I list everything that I can list in a collectibles category. I list in a collectibles category for a couple reasons. It has one of the lower final value fees, and it has such a variety of categories to choose from. And being as my niche is collectibles, that's where people, I'm hoping, are going to be finding those things. Okay, so yes. So in that case, the African sculptures, I do list in the cultures and ethnicities under collectibles, and I put them in the appropriate field, dogs, etc. And here's one thing, and I don't have any examples here on my desk to show you. One of the things I'm always looking for are figurines and things that are specific breeds, whether it be cat, dog, horse, whatever. If you can identify a specific breed, you have a whole realm of collectors out there, especially with dogs, that they look for those breeds and they will buy crazy figurines. My mom, this is really kind of funny, because my mom has collected dogs as long as I've been alive, dog figurines. She has some really great ones. And since I've taught her to sell on eBay, I'm seeing her sell off her whole collection of dogs. And I'm going, ugh, I grew up with those. You can't sell those. But she is doing phenomenally well, because most of them are specific breeds. She lists them as such, and people are scooping them up. And not for cheap prices either. I mean, she's selling these little dog figurines in $30, $40 range. So it's pretty cool. People love to collect particular items. What is my rule of thumb and how much to make off of each item? That is a really good question. So my time is like pulled from all ends lately. And my listing time is much more limited than it used to be with, managing the Danni app and running newsletters and all of this other stuff I'm doing. So what I'm having to learn to do is really look for items that I am going to make at least $50 a piece on. Doesn't mean that that's all I'm listing and all that I'm buying, because I am very hard pressed to pass up a good deal. But for the most part, when I am out looking for things, I want to look to make at least $50 profit on each item that I list. Because there is one thing that is true. It takes just as much time to list something that's going to make you $5 profit as it does something that's going to make you $500 profit. Really, that listing time is the same. You may spend a little more research on your higher priced items, but you really want to try to get your max profits, because then you can do less shipping, less listing, and more hunting, which is really the fun part of this job. And it's why I say putting the fun into eBay, because the parts that are really fun are the shopping, sourcing, treasure hunting, and then of course making good money on those items, hearing the little ka-ching go off on your phone when you sell something. That's fun. How much time per item would you say it takes you to sell? It all depends. You hear this on, some of the other venues. They refer to things as short tail and long tail. You are going to have items that are going to sell, within an hour of you listing them. And those are going to be really highly desirable, or somebody has a saved search that is just waiting for that item to be listed. And then you're going to have items that sit sometimes a year. I hear sellers, leave things up for 2 years. And then they eventually sell, because there's just some things that will have to wait for that particular buyer to come along. But I can tell you that if you are consistent and you are listing all these new things all the time, pretty soon you're consistently going to have those good sales coming in all the time. Because if all you have is really good stuff listed, then all of your sales are going to be good ones. So Johnny says, I seem to recall a tremendous market for elephants. Is that correct? Elephants are really popular. Absolutely, elephants sell. And a little tip, you really want ones that have the trunk up, because that signifies good luck. So people look for those elephants with the trunk up. Just saying. And I'll keep trying to keep up with your questions, guys, I promise. So let's keep going here. So coffee mugs. I'm often asked, like, what type of coffee mugs sell? And so what you want to be on the lookout for, and I have a few examples, some good examples. Of course, Starbucks. Everybody knows Starbucks. So I almost never pass a Starbucks mug by unless it's just in really bad condition. But even the plain Jane white with the green mermaid logo, those will sell too. But so Starbucks mugs, always be on the lookout. And then cartoon characters, like this is from the Peanuts gang. So, Charlie Brown, Peanuts, that kind of stuff. Disney, always go for them Disney mugs, because there are hardcore Disney fans out there. And advertising mugs. So this is a recent one that I just got listed as my John Deere mug. Those are just things to look for. Stay away from your kind of common plain Jane, just have like a flower on them or something. That you want things that are special. that have that eye appeal, and that you're also going to be able to come up with good keywords that not only will drive the sale on that item, but they're going to bring people to your other listings to find other cool stuff that you have listed. So always thinking about those keywords ahead. Do I list bin or auction mainly, and do I charge calculated shipping? And I promise you that is a segment we are getting to very soon. Let me just get through a few more examples of the type of things that I pick up. So another area that I love to concentrate on is plush. So obviously, I'm going to say this again, Starbucks, don't ever pass up Starbucks. And this one in particular, this is a good example since you wanted to talk about the free shipping thing. I list everything with free shipping, and I mean everything, on my fixed price listings. On auction format, I do charge. But for fixed price listing, everything is free shipping, whether it be a little plush or a big giant piece of glass. Reason that is you can price higher. There are several sellers that have this very same snowman Starbucks bear, and there's some that are started as low as like $9.99. I ignore those. Mine is priced, I believe mine is priced at $34.95. Have to double check that. With free shipping. And I will keep mine priced up that high because there's sellers that are even higher than me. I will price on the top 10% of the highest prices out there, and then I offer the value in the free shipping. I do put best offer and work around that way because people that are international tend to come in and make offers knowing that they have to pay the shipping separately. So you can always take lower offers depending on where you're shipping to and where it's going. Yeah. So we did coffee mugs, you know, clothing items. So again, I'm going to tell you, Disney. Disney is one of your surefire things to always pick up. If you're going to be listing any kind of clothing, look for higher quality items. This is authentic from Disneyland. It's got all the appropriate tags that say it's from Disneyland. You can see my tag here, $5.99, but that's not what I paid. I got a hefty little discount on that of 30%. And so this will sell in the $30 to $35 range because it's Disneyland. I mean, think about all the people that go to their little vacation at Disneyland. They probably paid $50 or $60 for this to begin with, and it gets lost or it gets a stain on it, and it was their favorite hoodie of all time. They're going to come to eBay and look for another one. You know, I just look for popular characters, you know, Muppets, Animal. Who doesn't love him? Also, I look for things that I can add the hot, trendy keywords to a listing because that's going to drive traffic. Even if this item doesn't sell at the price I have it listed at, it's going to pull people into my listing. So in this case, we've got Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty is still one of the top 10 search words. If you go over to the eBay Pulse, Hello Kitty forever stays in that top 10 searches. I don't know, popular pickup stuff that you can make money on. $3.99. Of course, I had 30% off of that. So I will still sell this shirt for good money, and it's going to pull in traffic for other listings. With clothing, this goes back to what do you know? You have to buy clothing. Wherever you buy it from, you have certain brands that you know and that you love. We all have our favorite stuff, and you know what you paid for it, you know its value, so you can be on the lookout for those type of brands. You can also search some of the top designer brands out there, although I stay away from those big top name brands. So like Ed Hardy, everybody knows Ed Hardy is still really popular. So that's another one. Not only will this shirt sell for a good profit, it's also going to bring in people. And then even if it's not like a hot brand or anything, if it's got that eye appeal and it's something crazy kooky, I mean, who doesn't love Cookie Monster? So here's another tip too, and this keeps it really safe. If you're going to get into selling clothing, go ahead and stick with sizes of somebody in your family. Like for me, when I'm looking at t-shirts, either women's or men's, I'm buying my husband's size, and that way, if it doesn't sell, he'll wear it. He'll wear anything. And then I look for things that I would sell myself. I have a whole closet full of shoes because I tend to buy shoes in my size. Sometimes they never even make it to being listed. But the theory is that if I buy in my size and it appeals to me, then I can always go in my closet. So that keeps it a little safe. What category for Disney clothing? When I have something Disney, I put it in the Disneyana categories. Definitely keep it true to the category. My theory on that is that eBay has done their research and created those big categories because that's where people are wanting to go find things. So if I can fit into one of their categories, that's where I'm going, where it's specific, especially in the collectibles. There is decorative by brand, and so if you have an item that fits into one of those brands, by all means, that is the category you should be in. Even though there's others where you might be able to go in, try to get to the most specific category because eBay is kind of helping drive people to those listings. Do I leave the tag on when I charge more than the tag? And I guess you're referring to the original price tag. So most original price tags are actually higher than what I charge for it. So I will leave those on. If by chance I am charging more than what the original price was, I'll snip off that original price. You know, it's even though they probably can't find it anymore and it's no longer available at that price, I try not to give people a reason to be unhappy. Do I FBA eBay items? I think you're asking if I let Amazon fulfill my eBay items, and I do not. I just don't want my items showing up in an Amazon box if they're coming from eBay. I'm pretty eBay loyal. If I sell it on eBay, it's coming from me. It's coming from utterly good stuff. And I don't want to confuse my customers. That's me personally. I know the multi-channel thing works well for a lot of people, just not for me. Do you limit the number of items that you offer, and how do you determine if it should go to auction or whether to put a price on it? That's a good question. Do I limit the amount of items I offer? I think you're referring to if I have a lot of the same item. I think that's what you mean. So I generally don't get a lot of the same item that I list on eBay. The only place that happens is for things that I do buy specifically to send in to Amazon FBA. And then, of course, I don't limit. I send them in and I let Amazon handle that. But for eBay, I generally only have maybe up to 2 or 3 of the same item if I got a good deal on something, and I'll list them all. And many times people will come in and want to buy them all. And I list everything, like I said, with the free shipping. So if somebody wants to come in and buy, say, all 3 of an item that I have, actually this just happened the other day, they paid me full price, even though when I listed that item, I had figured the worst case scenario for shipping into it. So each one of those items had $6 additional into the price added for the free shipping, and they didn't even make an offer. They just bought all 3, paid full price, so I got a little perk on top, which is one of the advantages of doing the free shipping, which I love. So a lot of you know me for glass. I do sell a lot of glass. I specialize in glass. And I give a lesson on glass pretty much every week on my show on Sundays. So a lot of you are learning to find that glass. So again, this goes back to eye appeal first. Let me just show you a piece that I picked up. How many of you would have picked up this piece just because it looks cool? Let's see. See if we got any takers in the chat room. Yeah, because it looks really cool. And I paid $10 for this piece, and I bought it at that price, not knowing anything else about it except that it had a really cool look. And if you had this in your hand, you would feel the quality of it. It's heavy, and it is signed on the bottom. It ends up being about a $150 piece of glass. So if glass kind of makes you go, oh, that's probably a good piece of glass to buy. There is some crazy, insane, high-priced glass out there, and the more stunning it is, the more likely it's one of those pieces. So if you find glass that has just that look that makes you really take a second or third look at it, probably a safe buy. There's going to be a collector, and even if not a collector of that piece, there's going to be somebody who buys it just on the fact of the way it looks. General rule of thumb for percentage charged for an item with free shipping. I'm not sure I understand your question, Marilyn. So I'll go a little bit into first, once I get the items home, because I want to back up because we were asked about the research first, and then I promise I'm going to go into how I price things. So I get the items home, and generally when I am out shopping, I don't do a whole lot of research on the spot. There are a few things that if they're on the higher price, say if something is, you know, in the $20 to $30 range, I am going to do a quick check on my mobile app. The eBay app is amazing for this. You pull up completed searches, and you can check off just the ones that have sold and get an idea of a price range that those items are selling for, or if they're selling at all, or if there's any listed. So I'm good with both of those scenarios. Either they're listing at the right price, or they're selling at the right price, or there's just none listed and I can be the only one that has it. So both of those things will cause me to buy the item. Terapeak does have a mobile app for iPhone users. I keep bugging them to get one for us Droid users. Bug. So I haven't been able to use Terapeak Mobile, but I know that they have a fantastic mobile app as well. Then when I get the items home and I sit down to list, I don't want to spend a ton of time researching because, as I said, time is money. So basically, I'm going to go with the very basics of what I know. And let's take, for instance, a Goofy coffee mug. I'm just going to pull up real quick, Goofy coffee mug, completed searches sorted by highest first. I'm going to kind of look for one that's similar. Doesn't have to be the exact one, just has to be around the same one. See what the highest priced one was that sold, and I figure if another seller got that high priced, I'm going there. A lot of times I will even price a little higher if they charge shipping and I'm doing free shipping. So then I do go over, take a little glance at active listings, and I position myself not necessarily to be the highest priced, but to fall right within, you know, those top 3 or 4 high priced sellers. Because my theory is I am looking for the shopper who thinks that if they pay more for something, it's a better item. And believe me, they are out there. I don't market to people like me that are looking for like the best deal, and understand that, you know, just because 2 things are priced different doesn't mean one's lower quality. I'm marketing to those people who want to pay more and feel like they got a better item. And believe me, they are out there and they buy like crazy. So definitely price on the higher side. I mean, that's what I tell everyone. What do I use for research? Basically, that is what I use for research. I use the eBay completeds and active listings is my #1 place to go first because that's my marketplace. I want to see what others are doing on my marketplace first. If I can't find the information I need there, my next step is to go to Terapeak, which does give, back to a year's worth of history if I need to go there. I will also go to WorthPoint and check out, and I don't necessarily even pull up pricing information from WorthPoint a lot of time. I just go and see if there's in fact any that have sold over the last year. And then other than that, I look at what I paid for the item, which then I take that and determine how much profit I want to get out of it. If I'm setting the marketplace price, nobody else really has one, I'm going to set the price. Point in case, just sold this morning, haven't gotten it shipped out yet. I know, it's one of my weird things. You can find taxidermy pheasants all over eBay for, $50 and under. I priced mine at $150. Mine sold. Free shipping, wonderful thing. People are looking for sellers offering free shipping. They're looking for sellers that look like they can be trusted, that have return policies, and have a brand. That's why I say eBay stores are phenomenal. So since I mentioned returns, do you charge for restocking? I've had returns because the customer admitted they didn't read the description. I, at this time, do not charge a restocking fee, and the reason is, and this is going to be a personal decision based on your business. Every business is going to have returns. Every business, I don't care what they are, who they are, you should look at, in your business model, having about a 3% return rate and figure that into your annual expenses. Have a slush fund for returns because it's going to happen. And the way I handle it is, as long as I stay in that under 3% return rate, I'm not going to hamper sales by making all of these conditions about returns. Now, I don't sell a lot of clothing, jewelry, things that people are more likely to get and then just decide they don't like it and return it. So for those sellers, I do recommend you look at your return rates, you look at the reasons for your returns, and absolutely decide if that restocking fee is something that is going to be necessary to offset the cost of those returns. So I want to get into my pricing strategy because I know we're kind of running on the clock here. So as I said, when I get something, I look at completeds first and I sort by highest plus shipping. I see what's selling or what's not selling. I don't let that completely determine how I'm going to price something because that is a really small window of time. Who knows what was going on in the world in that last week that eBay's showing us those results. But it does give you a little idea of where to go. I also look at how a seller listed the item. Did they give really awful keywords in their description or in their titles? Can I do better? I will price higher. I don't let that discourage me. I simply use it as information. It is a tool. And what you really have to do is decide that you are confident in what it is that you're listing and have faith in those items that you're putting up. List them with really good keywords and descriptions right from the start. Offer added value such as free shipping, and throw the best offer in there. That way, if they do feel your price is a little high, they can come in and make an offer. And have branding, have a logo, have something that makes you look like you're not going anywhere. You're not a fly-by-night seller. I know PageMage has some outstanding branding tools that you can use for that kind of stuff. So set yourself apart from those sellers who aren't using those things, and you can get the higher prices. So what is the Danni App? Well, basically I am the Danni App. That name came about because someone was asked what they use as far as apps and things while they're out shopping and sourcing, and they said, I use the Danni App, meaning they would text me pictures and say, should I get this or not? So that is how the Danni App name came about, and it's kind of stuck. And I am working on an actual app that you guys can use, but that's a process. That's a process. Working with a programmer, so I hope to have that up soon and have some really cool technology with it. But I do have the Danni App website, and what I offer there is I have a free newsletter that goes out each week where I will take one thing happening in the world of eBay and kind of give a little mini course on how to improve your listings or work through a problem or deal with something that's happening with one of the changes, give information. And then of course I have my shows on Sunday evenings where kind of do what we're doing right here, is where I'll show you the things that I bought that week and why I bought them and how I'm going to list them. We talk about things that sold for cool money and things to watch out for, and that's pretty much what the Danni App is about, is helping you guys make the maximum amount of money, because I hate nothing worse than to hear sellers out there struggling because there are so many good buyers out there waiting to buy stuff, and it's just a matter of getting that right stuff put into your stores and having confidence in your listings and marketing. So I see we're getting to the top of the hour, and I want to leave a little bit more time for any questions of anything that I've covered. So I'm not a Droid app yet. I'm kind of reading the questions over here, just so my producers know I'm grabbing them over here. With free shipping, do I charge a certain percentage over what I'd like to get for the item? Oh, absolutely. With free shipping, this is my strategy. I have a scale sitting here, right here next to my desk. So I'm offering free shipping, but I know how much that shipping is going to be. So I take the weight of the item, I'm going to have to figure out the packaged weight. So even though I don't package them ahead of time, what I'm doing is adding in the weight of the box and materials that I use with what the item weighs. And then I know in my mind, I've learned over the years what that shipping is going to be worst case scenario. Like for a 2-pound package from me to New York, it's going to be in the $11 range for priority mail. So I already know that going in. So let's say I have an item, let's just suppose that I wanted $10 profit on this item, and I paid $1 for it, so there's $11. Now I can add that $11 for shipping in. These are just round numbers here. So that's $22. So I don't list it for $22. I would probably list it for $24.95 to $29.95, because what that does now is not only gets that shipping in there, it also gives me a little leeway for people to make an offer. So if I listed it at $29.95 and somebody offers me $25, that's still $3 over what I would have wanted to make on the item. Oh, and better yet, they're in Utah, right next door to Nevada here, and the shipping's only going to cost me $6. So that's an extra $5 that I made. So I am a big, big believer in free shipping and being a huge advantage to sellers. How do I choose which items to put as auction versus buy it now? And I did promise to mention that. So real quick, this is my rule of thumb. There's 3 things. The item is something unusual or rare, and I figure that out by doing that little bit of research I told you guys about. So if there have been none sold, or maybe only 1 or 2 and they sold really well, or there's none at all available and it's possibly a very sought after item, and that's why there's none available, is because They just can't be found. Those for me are auction items. And I don't start auctions low. Let's just suppose this $150 vase, I would never start this at like $9.95. Used to be able, you could do that with eBay and the traffic issues and the search engine stuff. I won't do it. So the lowest I would probably start $150 vase at would be like $99.95. And the reason for that is that's still a good deal to somebody. It's going to get it out there, get it attention. And if I got the quick $100 on it, I would take it. It would still be good for me. So that's one scenario, rare or unusual. The other one is an item that no matter where it starts, it ends at around the same price. So if the seller started it at $50 at an auction and it's worth $50, or they started at 99 cents and it still gets up to $50, and your completed listings will show that, those are items then I would probably start at a little bit lower, drawing people in and use them as traffic. The third thing is something with just big keywords, just something that it's okay if it sells a little cheaper than it should, because I know the traffic that it's going to generate is going to bring people in to buy something else out of my store. And we're talking, go and look at the eBay Pulse page and look at those top 10 searches. Those are items that people are going to just be clamoring over getting a good deal. So those are the type of things, say, okay, so Apple's like hot right now. If you have like Apple accessories or Apple something, you can be pretty safe in starting that at a low auction price, getting lots of people driven to come look at it because it's going to pull traffic in. And while they're there, they're probably going to look at your other stuff. And while you may not get the price you wanted for that particular item, you are going to generate traffic to your other items, and we call those loss leaders. So those are my three rules of thumb for listing at auction, and then everything else goes fixed price. With all my random stuff, how do I keep track of all the inventory? I have a system that works for me, and I have shelves. I'm looking at them around here, and my shelves are all sorted by the type of item that it is. So I do a lot of animal products. So I have a shelf with cows, cats, dogs, horses, bears. So that's where those items go. I have my glass, I have my porcelain, I have mugs, I have plush in bins. So I call it organized chaos because I can pretty much go and find anything that I have listed based on the type of item that it is. Everybody has to find a way to organize their shelves that works for them. So with the one-of-a-kind stuff, it may mean you put it by the date listed. I know many people have that very successful for them. So just kind of finding a way to keep track. Let's see. Where do I look for markings on glass if no stickers? Well, the very first place to look on glass is going to be on the bottom. A lot of glass is just etched on the bottom. A lot of glass will have what they call an acid etch mark, but really most glass is not marked. So glass is one of those things you will have to develop a feel for. And I say go and pick up as many pieces as you can, because as you pick pieces up, you're going to soon learn the difference between a quality piece and kind of a cheaper made piece. And that's really the key to identifying it. How do I research keywords? Well, first of all, I go back to those eBay completed listings and I look at what the top sellers have used for keywords. I try not to reinvent the wheel. I use Terapeak Keywords, which is the app right there through eBay that you can put in words and see where they rank, and then it gives you other suggestions for those items. Really try not to reinvent the wheel. Try not to call things what you call them, but what the customer is going to call them, because that's what we're trying to do, is make our titles have those words that people are typing into the search box. That's what it's all about. What about Beanie Babies? You don't really want me to go there, do you? They're good for target practice. I am going to ship this bird today via UPS because it does have to go in an oversized box. Anything that is really heavy or oversized, I do ship UPS. I have an account with them, so I have a negotiated lower rate than the normal rates, which is any of you eBay sellers can do that and get a hold of a UPS account representative. They are happy to work with eBay sellers because they want your business. So they'll give you some pretty significant discounts. But I try not to use parcel post, USPS, just because there just seems to be much more likelihood of it taking forever to get there, and more likely something in it, if it's breakable, it's going to get broken. Because those things, the way they process them, they go through the sorting plants, fall, let's say, like it's about a 3-story drop into the bins, and 70-pound packages can fall on top of your package from that height. So get that image and you'll be a lot more careful what you send parcel post. Flat rate priority, seldom use flat rate priority. I almost always use regular priority. It's usually cheaper. The only time the flat rate priority makes sense is if an item is over the 4 to 5 pound range and fits into one of their boxes. Now, I do use the padded flat rate envelopes a lot. Those I do love. So if you have something that does make sense to ship in those, by all means. No, I do not offer free shipping international. They do have to pay their international rate, and that's calculated based on the weight. So, how many items do I sell a month, and how much is my budget for new items? Good question. It varies, of course, by time of year, but generally I am shipping out about 100 items a month. And budget, I'm a bad one for that, because if I see a good deal, I'm snagging it. Hey, Kat, should we tell them about good deals?
I should tell them about good deals because it's 3 o'clock, and I know that you are so generous and you would stay on here and answer their questions, and they would love it because there's about 40 more questions down in the question box. And I do, you guys, if you enjoyed this Tougher to Seller webinar, Danni's on Spreecast every Sunday night, and she does pretty much the same thing. She talks about her philosophy of selling, and she sells all that weird, crazy, wild stuff. I mean, if I had to define Danni, I would call her the weird seller because she makes money off these really strange things that I would look at. Anyway, so if you want more of Danni, show up on Spreecast Sunday evening. It's 5 o'clock Eastern, or 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern, and just search for Danni at the Danni app. And they were asking about your YouTube channel. Now your YouTube channel is the Danni app too, isn't it?
Yes.
All right.
Everything's the Danni app.
Everything's the Danni app except her eBay store, which they were also looking at, is called Utterly Good Stuff. And you can go to utterlygoodstuff.com to find her eBay store. But if you go to the DanniApp.com, you'll find a surprise she has for you right now, something brand new on the Danni app that we've got the breaking news, and those who know me know I love news. So give us the news. What's the special offer over on the Danni app for the people on the webinar, Danni?
Well, we have been hard at work. My poor web designer, I don't think she slept last night. We're still working out a few bugs, but I do now have a brand new membership area to the Danni app, which will include exclusive webinars, teaching, coaching, consulting, things that I have to give a little bit more of my time. But there is a 30-day free trial.
I'm in, okay? Private access to the Danni app. I got a whole shelf of weird stuff. I can, use my free trial to see what those things are and how much money I can make of them. So if you check out the DanniApp.com, just open today is Danni's membership site, and there's a 30-day free trial. So check that out. You can't get enough Danni, which sounds like the audience can't. And then there was something else you and I did together that we were going to make them a special offer today. Why don't you tell them about that since it's your webinar? Kat, I've got my volume up as far as I can, sweetie. I'm sorry.
So Kat and I actually wrote this book here. You can see it. The Ultimate Guide to Savings by Store. And in our book, what we have done is broken down how to shop at 50 different stores for sourcing for your eBay or Amazon businesses. And we have included stores where you should never walk out without paying less than the average person. We have dug up every coupon, discount, club, savings method that these stores have that is out there, and we've included it all in this book. One guide for you to take. We even made it a handy little size. You can stick it in your purse.
Absolutely, and it's got a money-back guarantee. So it's over at savingsbystore.com/digital.html. I put the link in the chat room, and it's on special just for people here at the webinar. The PDF version is $29.95. So Danni, you got about 12 more questions, and I won't ask you because we're already past time, but what else would you like to say to the folks in the audience? They've been so good. I mean, we haven't lost anybody. Normally, as the webinar goes long, we lose more and more people, and this one just kept getting higher and higher. So they obviously like what you have to say. So one more time, remind them where they can hear more about what Danni's got to say.
So if you guys come over to the DanniApp.com, sign up for my newsletter. That is where you can really stay in touch with me. I do answer my emails as quickly as I get them. I have a Facebook group called the Danni App, where it's not just me, but it's several very knowledgeable people that are willing to chime in and help identify and come up with keywords and solve eBay problems and all that good stuff. Lots of information, and yeah, you can find me anywhere, and I'm more than happy to keep answering all these questions if you want to come and post them.
Okay, I'm getting feedback that they've got no sound and no picture from me, so I guess it's time for me to go goodbye. And for those of you who want to know if there is a replay, pretty much as soon as I hit this button up here that says End Spreecast, Spreecast little gremlins in the back will fix it, and you'll have a replay up within about 5 or 10 minutes. So please make sure you've signed up at the topratedsellerwebinars.com. Sign up for the newsletter so we can notify you of our next newsletters that are coming out very, very soon. And I am as close to the mic as I can get. They're telling me to get closer to the mic. So come on over to topratedsellerwebinars.com. If you are interested in the book that Danni and I put together, that's at savingsbystore.com/digital.html. Check out Danni at the Danni App, and we'll see you all around the web. Have a great Wednesday.